Planting a tree is something that I think everyone should know, because you know what? We should always all be planting trees. You plant them for the future, but they're always good to plant because you're enjoying trees today because someone planted them years ago. So this is a peach tree I'm adding to the orchard. In a recent storm, we had a small one that was really young, blow down. No big deal, it's young. When I'm looking for a tree, the first thing I look is what zone do I live in? I live in zone 5B, but sometimes out in the harsh elements like this, I buy for zone 4, which is actually for colder zones. So this is a peach tree that can go to zone 4. That's important to me because that means it can take the harsh winters and the direct winds sometimes that it can have. So a lot of people think they can just pop this in any size hole, plant it up, jam it in. There's a few things you should know. The first thing I do is I take any tree out of its container and I start looking for the root flare. Right now, that is not the root flare. The root flare is where this trunk is going into the roots. So to find that, I'm actually gonna start taking away some of this soil, because trees, plants, all these things are living, obviously, and they need air and oxygen just as much as humans. And I think that surprises a lot of people, but trees can suffocate. So when they are planted way too deep, they can actually suffocate and die. No good, people. So I'm gonna actually keep taking off. You're kind of thinking probably, those are roots, you're gonna kill it. No, those are like capillary small roots that honestly are growing up there just because there's too much soil on it. So they're just trying to escape and get up to the air so they can get an air for this tree. A lot of times on these are called container grown trees. And the reason they have too much dirt on them is because in the nursery, they just throw in a bare root tree and then they just grow it and don't really worry about it. But that's why when you get home sometimes, you might randomly have a tree die and not be sure why. It could definitely be because of this. And it can be not show signs for 10 to 15 years sometimes. So more in that 5-year mark probably. But as you can see, I'm taking a lot of dirt off here. And I'm exposing so far probably 3 inches more than that was actually showing. So if you can see here, the trunk is almost getting thicker here, and this is actually where the roots are flaring out, which is why we call it a root flare. So look, we now have, look how shallow that is. And it was all the way up to here. This is actually gonna help the life of the tree a lot. So I'm also down here along the bottom where these roots are so thick. I'm just gonna take them and score them with my hand. Sometimes I would use a knife and really cut into them if they're really encircling. But these are all pretty easy just to take and do with my hands. This is just gonna help the roots know that they can now branch out. You want roots to grow laterally and out into the ground. So that's what this is helping do. Once we have the tree prepared, it's important to have the hole prepared. So I have it 2 times obviously the size of the root ball. And I wanna make sure that root flare is exposed above the ground, not planted below. And I also want to use mostly my native soil, but you can mix in up to, I'm gonna say 25 to 50% compost if you need to, or an amendment. I also like to put in just a good fertilizer that's good for root growth. This one is just, it's kind of one of those all-purpose, really good to kind of help those roots start going. So I kind of just like to add some of that in. It's one that you can't really burn. You can't really hurt the tree with it. It's just gonna help those roots. Second, before I pop this right into the hole, I like to make sure my hole is nice and moist. Especially like right now I'm in a dry spell. And if you're in a dry spell, that means that your soil isn't gonna be used to water. So when you have a good wet hole to begin with, it's gonna receive water when you water it a lot better. Okay. As you can see, I'm moving it around just to make sure that root flare is going to still be exposed when I plant it. And if you need to, you can kind of work around with it. And now start just putting that soil back in. You can use some of that potting soil too. It's nice and light, and those little roots, they'll work back in. They're not gonna be anything that's gonna hurt the tree. So I'm gonna get the rest of the soil packed in, and I'm gonna finish watering it and show you the finished product. I have the soil put back around. You should be able to fit the soil you took out back around the plant. You don't want to press it so tightly that you're like pushing it in and making it really hard on the roots, but you do want it to be packed in to help sturdy the tree. So I again then water the tree. I always say you should at least double the size of the pot the tree comes in for watering. So this should have about at least 10 gallons of water dumped on it right when I plant it. Not only is that like feeding the roots the water they need, but it's also getting any of the air bubbles that are in there out. If you have a lot of air bubbles, it can actually have little pockets where a root will dry out, and then that could cause certain areas of your tree not to look good. So once I have that watered well, I then will always put a little bit of mulch on it. You've seen what I think about mulch. I think it can be really good, especially here for moisture retention and for weed suppression. So I'm gonna make sure I do not put mulch up around that root flare. I do not want, you know when you drive around malls, or guys, please do not tell me this is your home, and you see this, what you call like a mushroom or volcano mulch. You are killing the tree. It is crying, it hates it. No, pull that mulch away. Like I have actually gone up into like, when I'm at like a store or something, I see it done, I will pull it away just because I'm like, why are you gonna kill the tree? That's just stupid. So pull it away, let that root around there breathe. That's also where you can water the tree when you're gonna water it, because there is no point to water the whole area out here. There are no roots out here. The roots are right in that root ball. So spread that mulch about 2 inches thick around the tree. That's gonna be enough to help retain that moisture, suppress those weeds, and it looks good. So from here on, you definitely wanna water it. Check it at least like 3 times a week. Check it because you never know. If you're not getting rain, you need at least an inch of rain to count as a watering. If you're not getting that, you need to water it again, at least probably for this size tree, 5 gallon. 10 gallon the initial time, then probably 5 gallon every time after that. Yes, I mean that. This is a quick way to plant a tree. I will do one on staking a tree because as you can see, this needs to be staked. So go out and plant a tree. Think of the future, think of the beauty you could have, the shade, the fruit, whatever it is. Share this around because everyone needs to know how to plant a tree. Yeah, it's a little bit of work as you can tell. I'm sweaty, but that's good. That means you're getting outside, you're getting your hands dirty, and you're doing something good for the world. Go plant a tree.